Yeah, so guys, yeah, we had a technical issue. Yeah, so please, I've asked Zola to join us. Yeah, if you are streaming, please, give us a shout. Just greet us, let us know, which country you're streaming from. And yeah, so I'll try to bring him in. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, unfortunately, these things, they do happen. But yeah, if you can join, that would be lovely. But yeah, I'll see if I can bring him to this call. Yeah, just bear with us and yeah, have coffee, drink, whatever. I'll be back now. Sure. Zoletu, thanks for coming. Can you hear me? Zoletu, can you hear me? Guys, yeah, I'm trying to get Zoletu to join. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give up now. Yeah. Zoletu, hello. Okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna cancel, guys. Yeah, I'm sorry about this. I've tried, and yeah, unfortunately, yeah, there's nothing I can do. I've tried to help him. Yeah, so yeah. Zoletu, hello. I can see your face, man. Can you please say something?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you clear. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, man. Yo, it's been a struggle.
Yeah, I've just. Can you hear me in terms of the sound?
Yes,
Because I
yes,
can't
yes.
hear anything on my side.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Let me. I'm gonna try to share my presentation. Um,
Sure,
just
sure.
want to do that.
Yeah. So, guys, I want to welcome you, Zoletu, and I know he's been struggling, due to some technical issues. Yeah. So I know Zoletu Kubesa, way back. Yeah, and yeah, I actually went to
Okay, let me
ECT
just
with
share
him.
the
Yeah,
presentation.
and yeah, he's from Kailicha as well, and yeah, he's a long time friend, and I've actually worked with him briefly at Sanlam in Cape Town.
Can you
Uh,
see my presentation?
yeah, I can see it. Yeah, Zoletu, I'm not sure if you are frozen. Yeah,
I am
guys.
not able to hear anything on my side at all, guys. Um, just trying to see. Okay, apologies for that. I'm just trying to be able to manage because I could not hear on what is on the screen. But yeah, welcome to Experience Design. My topic for today is yeah, product requirements lifecycle management. I'm not sure if you can hear. Perfect. All right. No, I just wanted to get that thumbs up. But yeah, let me just go through what I wanted to share with everyone, and 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 I wanted to just get just to get you to this point because I find that there I'm a International Institute of Business Analysis, and rely mainly on the BA BOK or BA Business Analysis body of knowledge. So all that I'm sharing with you, it's something that comes mainly from there, as well as my experience. As you can see, to product requirements lifecycle, it's all about having a recipe. Just trying to see if now, if I'm not sure if the screen has updated to show you a beautiful layered cake. I'm not sure whether it's a tiramisu or what kind of a
Yeah,
cake
we can see the cake. Yeah, it's a beautiful cake. Yeah.
life cycle management is about. Just describes the task that a business analyst or a product manager performs to manage and maintain requirements from initiation right through to final implementation. Um, and I would say it will be best to view it in it will be best to view it in a sense that um, you usually have ingredients and you have a list of ingredients that will lead you to this cake. That's all the life cycle is about. It's saying, let us maintain the recipe so such that we are able to have the outcome of this beautiful layered cake. So I'll move on right along. I know we have some challenges technologically on my side, but I'll move on right along. Um, then there are key areas in there are key knowledge areas when it comes to requirements life cycle. One of them it is the ability to trace requirements, maintain requirements, prioritize requirements, access requirements changes, and approve requirements. So I'll take you through these knowledge areas very quickly. I'm not gonna labor too much on the points. If you have any questions, please post them on the chat. Yeah, I don't know my. Just want to make sure that I have light here. Sorry for that. Looks like that just went out of power, but hopefully you can still see me. Yeah, so this is the requirements life cycle. Those are the elements or the key knowledge areas. The first one that I'm going to talk to about is the trace requirements. Um, trace requirements here. All it is, it's a matter of just ensuring that um, from the BA book, once again, is to ensure that requirements are designed at different levels are all aligned to one another and to manage the effect of change to all levels to all levels to one level or related or unrelated requirements. Main in the importance here is that whenever you are baking that cake, I'll use that analogy again, is that if you are having a layered cake, you must always have bear in mind that each layer of that cake is related to there is a relationship. You find that in the middle there is a cream that is glue that is actually putting together that cake. So it's important to be able to trace requirements and having foresight that we are building a layered cake. We are not only building one layer, we are building 5 layers. So that's what traceability is all about. Just want to move on there, and most importantly here. So what is traceability enables? It enables faster and simpler impact analysis. When you're doing an impact of your requirements, what is the impact on the client on the out there? If it was a donut that you are actually busy baking, do you want a plain donut? What is the impact? Is there a group of customers who want a donut with a cream? Is there group of customers who want a donut with the icing sugar or with speckles on it? But it just depends on your client at the end of the day, because the product is facing the client, and that's one of the biggest mistakes that many of us will make, is to forget that a a a a a product is actually facing the client. Okay. Yeah, so I just want to move on to that. And so what is the process of traceability? It's actually getting the value, as I said, for the client, getting the business processes in line, sub processes, the activities that are required, as well as the task that one will be acting upon. And you'll find that in a software requirement traceability, you have talk about the business needs. What does the client need? When we talk to business, what does the client need? What does the customer need when it comes to their cake or their donut that they're busy building? And what are the requirements for them? Requirements in this case, we'll talk to a donut. This is what they want. But some you'll find that they want icing as again icing. They want to decorate their donut, and your stakeholders will also be the people that are building this cake or building this donut, but as well as your customer. You make sure that you're always involving your customer, and then you design a solution, or you come up with a solution based on these requirements, whether there's icing sugar on top of this donut, or there is just chocolate on these donuts, depending on what the client wanted. From there onwards, you go on to design, code, and test. If in a case of the software development, in a software development scenario. Okay. Just want to make sure that I'm still in line. Okay, and then I just want to move on. Same. What are the elements in here? Most important, there are three elements to consider when looking at trace requirements: the level of formality, the relationships between those requirements, and the traceability repository. This is where the traceability repository, this is where you're actually storing the information, but I'm going to go through these elements very quickly. So element number one is level of formality. It varies depending on the requirements themselves. One, it will be a high level of formality and detailed requirements. So is a high level of formality and a detailed required. So we determine the value of the particular type of trace. You will ask yourself what information will this type of link or trace give the project. The more requirements are being managed, the more formal the traceability would be needed. So there is a direct relationship between the number of requirements that are there as well as the formality itself. Okay. Then element number two is the relationships. There is a derive, there is a depends, and there is a satisfy, and there's a validate. Just to give you an example of this, the relationship here is between two requirements. So when one requirement is derived from another, you'll find that we wanted a donut with an icing sugar on top, but now then there is another requirement related to this that says please add jelly tots on top of that icing sugar. So now it is derived from that. Otherwise, how are you going to stick the icing the jelly tots on top of that donut if that requirement for the icing sugar or cream has been placed in top? Then there's also the depend one. This is when one requirement depends on another one. For example, here there are two conditions. There's a necessity and there's the effort of this. And then there's a relationship, a satisfying relationship that this requirement will satisfy the next part or will satisfy the following requirements that are to come, but it will not, the subsequent requirements will not be fulfilled without these specific requirements being executed or being provided for. Then there is a validate relationship. In this case, you'll find that the relationship between the two requirements, it's like a test case. You are there to validate what required is actually working. Okay. And then I'll move on to element number 3, which talks about the traceability repository. All it is here, you'll find that you're doing it, but you're not really aware. Your organization will have something like Jira. Some organizations will use Confluence. Some will use some will use even Excel spreadsheet. Some will use a project management tool. Will draw out the requirements and show a Gantt chart. But all it is that you're doing here, you are just being able to document the list of requirements that you have so that they are placed somewhere and you are able to actually get access to them. That's traceability. And then task number 2 is maintenance of requirements. As you've noticed prior, I spoke to traceability repository. You can't maintain something that was never recorded. You need to actually have a place for your requirements. And then again, according to the BA book, all it is here, we are retaining requirements accuracy and consistency throughout and beyond the change during the entire requirements life cycle. So all it is here, we need to make sure that we remain consistent. We need to maintain accuracy of our requirements. Therefore, we're able to go back and see, are our requirements still what the customer wanted at the end of the day? Okay. So, and in maintaining requirements, these are the elements that we look at: maintain requirements, maintain the attributes, reuse the requirements. And I think in design, Putumi will attest to this, that in number of times you'll find that you'll get a design, you'll reuse it in multiple projects. It's not a matter of you'll just use a design once. It does help that you are able to use a design multiple times.
Yeah, yeah,
Again, here, when we talk about maintaining requirements, when you take your car to the dealer to get your car maintained, there's a number of things that they need to do. Your car needs maintenance. It needs an oil change. It needs an oil filter to be changed. After some time, you'll find that your battery needs to be changed. You have a timing belt at a certain point that needs to be changed with the tires. So all of this is important as well when it comes to requirements, because you need to be able to maintain your requirements, ensure that your requirements remain valid. Then the elements, again, we said accuracy, well-named requirements, maintain the relationship and the relevant information, sure content and original the original intent of the requirements is maintained as well. And then element number two is it's about attributes. You'll find that attributes are always there for requirements. You need to be able to have to say what are the attributes of this thing that I'm doing. In a case of a donut, you know that there is a baking flour, there's yeast, there's sugar, there is jelly toss that you need to put on top depending on what the client wanted. But all of these attributes are outlined upfront, and when delivered to the customer, you are able to say, these are the attributes of what you wanted. Okay. Then reusability, I think I've touched based on for one of the most touched requirements. It's compliance requirements in just depending on the industry. In the food industry, there's strict compliance to cleanliness and the use, for example, of oil. How many times you're going to use oil? So all of that forms part of the reuse. You'll find that you'll reuse the same policies and standards, performance measures you'll be used, and sometimes your reports you will reuse as well. So this is an important element. Element number three for me, I believe in element number three, because it helps quite a lot. And as when one gains experience, you find that it helps a lot. And then the other task will be prioritizing of requirements, what to take and what not to take. So the purpose of this task here of prioritizing requirements is just to rank your requirements in order of relative importance. That's the main objective. What is important? What do you need first? You cannot have again jelly toss that you're gonna put on top of the cake or the donut without having the donut in place, without having icing sugar or cream placed on top of the donut, such that when you place the jelly tots, they don't move around. So that's that kind of a prioritization that you need as a product manager as well as a business analyst. Okay, and then yeah, why do we need to prioritize? As I said again, um, I like this for me because it says exactly what it is. What's the opposite of prioritizing? It's cancel, disorder, disorganized, despair. You'll find that you cannot start baking a cake without having all your ingredients in place. So that's what I like about this visual. Yeah, as you can see, but I'm not gonna dwell on this one as well. If there's any questions, Putumi will just shout. Then the elements here is basis of prioritization, challenges of prioritization, and continual prioritization. You'll find that as things change, as the world change, everyone is adopting the agile ways of doing things. There's nothing new with prioritizing your backlog. That's what we would refer to in a product development. Or even in business analysis. And in agile format, you'll have a product backlog where your product backlog is just a list of prioritized item. The next requirement that needs to be on top will be on top of that backlog. One of the bases of prioritization it has an influence. For example, in an insurance industry, if you do not prioritize your compliance, you might end up getting fined. Like for example, in these two companies, your Sanlam and your Fed group, that got fined for poor money laundering. So this is another example of not prioritizing your compliance requirements as a product provider or a service provider. Okay. Yeah, there's usually a challenge in prioritizing because everyone feels that their requirement comes first. But hey, as it says here, their goals would be to end world peace, just world peace, finding true happiness, the perfect sandwich. But nice. But I meant for you to prioritize for our clients' goals, not your goals. So it's very important to prioritize the
I'm
right
not sure.
requirements, to prioritize the
Can
right
you hear me?
goals for your customer at the end of the day, and also to ensure that you always manage your stakeholders from a conflict point of view, because this is a very contentious thing that can happen whenever you're prioritizing, because one stakeholder might say, why are my requirements not prioritized as opposed to the other person? Yeah, so it's important to, there are challenges that arise from prioritizing or lack of prioritizing. Okay, then continual prioritization. Again, here, this is an example where you get an external implementation partner in doing something, where you say, you know what, our role here in this factory is to decorate donuts, but not to make donuts. So we'll have another partner who's going to produce the donuts, ensure that the donuts are produced, the donuts as they are, but in terms of now adding flavors, adding sprinkles, adding jelly tots, and all of those fancy things. Our core competency is to actually market and make sure that the donuts meet the market. Hence, in this case, the example here was an implementation partner with a Capitec group, Capitec Bank, in them when they were actually transforming their capabilities by working with SAP HANA, just to boost up their data side of things as they were growing. Okay. And then access to requirements changes. Again, this is an important one to evaluate the impact of proposed changes to requirements. You don't just come up and change design. There needs to be a why. Why is change? Why are we making changes? But most importantly, it's just to remember that change is constant in life. There's always going to be a time where change is required, but it's important to manage the change that comes in. You cannot just change requirements on the fly. There has to be some form of order in which that is followed when requirements are requiring to be changed. Okay. The elements for this will be assess the formality, again, the impact of the change, impact resolution as well, from the impact analysis and the impact resolution. So again, here it depends on the level of formality. Also on how you are making a decision, which methodology to choose that will actually work for you. You find here that there is a predictive approach and there's an adaptive approach when it comes to the level of formality, depending again on the number of requirements that you need to address. Okay, and then impact analysis. As I said again, previously, example here, the HSBC bank was fined by the UK regulator about 63 million pounds. If you convert that to South African rands, that's a lot of money, and you'll find that um, them not complying or them having a change their product requirements might have resulted in a cost that ended up them placing them against the financial regulator in the UK, where they failed to have structures in place for money laundering. So there's the impact analysis that one needs to make. What is this change going to impact to my requirements, and most importantly to the regulators out there? Because as much as you want to satisfy your customer, there's always eyes watching from a regulatory point of view. Okay. And then there's the impact resolution. Again, here, as the business analyst, you are there to ensure that business analyst as well as product owner, you're there to ensure that you document, communicate all the impact and the resolution of the change that you're coming up with, and ensure that you highlight the the impact very well whenever you are saying no, we are changing the way that we address our regulations. You'll find that if your anti-money laundering structures or ways of fighting or combating anti-money laundering are impaired as a result of a change, you want to be first in the market, but you've ignored the regulator, you've ignored any anti-money laundering standards, you'll end up getting impacted negatively by the change. Hence, you always need to communicate to the stakeholders and ensure that they are held accountable by the possibility of what will happen should they not comply. Yeah. Okay. The approval of requirements. Again, this is the IIBA. The IIBA's BA book just says obtain an agreement or agreement on approval of requirements and designs for business analysis work to continue or solution construction. But why? The reason for us having to request for approval is the product manager and business analyst, though you are the custodian of those requirements, you are not the owner of the requirements. You are there to take care of your clients' requirements. Therefore, you need to ensure that you always get approval from your stakeholders just to ensure that you deliver the best product. So it's important to understand stakeholder roles, conflict and issue management, gain consensus amongst your stakeholders, track and communicate approval very well, because you'll find that someone might there needs to be at least a chain of command, in the sense that if the first person is not available to make or to provide an approval, there is a secondary person that can provide you a approval, especially in the fast paced world in the financial services. If one implements an Apple Pay, for example, you need to be able to be fast and agile, in that if the main person or the main stakeholder that is supposed to do the sign off, there is an alternative person, such that the project does continue. In the case of a baking shop or bakery, there needs to be someone there to say that, you know what, we've received the donuts, the plain donuts, but we are running out of chocolate, for example. What can we do? What are other products? What are other ways of decorating this that we can continue with our production line? So hence it's important to have an approval in that bakery, either a manager or a supervisor who will be able to issue the approval. Okay, so it's important to understand your stakeholders. I think I've touched base on this. Who's who in the list of your stakeholders, and also, yeah, conflict management. I think there are certain personalities who tend to avoid conflict, but conflict arises and it requires to be managed, and you just need to ensure that you go in between people whom or whenever there is a stakeholder that causes tension in amongst a decision maker, ask the person aside, um, get that person aside, talk to them directly. Maybe they're requiring your attention. Maybe they want their voice to be heard. Give that person your ear as a product manager or business analyst, such that you are able to get buy-in from everyone. Hence, it's important to understand and have conflict management skills. Gain consensus. Again, I think I've touched based on this. You need to be a step ahead in ensuring that you get everyone's buy-in by communicating regularly, by communicating to your stakeholders, ensuring that they are aware and they know what it is that you're doing. Okay. I'm not sure if you can still see me. Putumi, just give me a thumbs up if you can still see me. If I'm still connected.
Yeah, I can still see you.
Yeah, and then the last one here is track and communicate the approval. As I did say, it's important to always map up your approval, ensure that you as the business analyst or product owner in this case, you're required to keep a record of everyone's approval and be able to produce that, because I remember once ago, like some time ago, when I was at Sanlam, the Prudential Authority came back to us and required the physical document with the actual sign-offs from the different stakeholders. So it's important to have that at the back of your mind and be able to show that. I think that was my end of my session. I've tried to be as brief as possible because I wanted more of this time to be more of a discussion rather than me talking throughout. Thank you. Over to you, Mputumi.
Yeah, no, thanks a lot, Zoletu. I know you're having some technical issues, and I'm not sure if you can hear me now. Maybe if you just
I still
disconnect
can't hear anything on my side.
yeah, if you just disconnect your headphones, maybe that's the problem. And yeah, let's see if you can let me just type here, and let's see. Yeah, can you hear me now? I think your headphones are not properly set up. Um, can you hear me now? I am talking, so I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah, I know we've had some technical issues, and I wish I could contribute to the conversation. Unfortunately, yeah, you couldn't hear me. I think you are still experiencing the same issue now. So yeah, I think I can only just say thank you to you, and yeah, well, I wish we didn't have these challenges, yeah, because it would have been great, for people to contribute. And I've also had to create a new event, and I know I invited a lot of people in the other event, but unfortunately, yeah, we couldn't use it. But yeah, I see some people did manage to stream, and yeah, thanks for those who joined. And yeah, so guys, unfortunately, sometimes yeah, these things they happen. So yeah, just always go to our experience design page on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter. You'll always see the event that is being streamed. Yeah, so just in case we experience this thing again. Yeah, unfortunately, some LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter, please see the event that is being streamed. Yeah, so just in case we experience this thing again. Okay, yeah, I think yeah, I'm hearing the background noise. So Guys, yeah, let me say goodbye. Yeah, thanks to Zoletu. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't even hear each other. I could hear him, but he can't hear me, so it's a problem. But anyways, let me say thanks a lot, and yeah, again, sorry for the technical issues that caused delays and also the mess up, the confusion. Yeah, thanks Zoletu. Yeah, it was very great, man, to have you, and yeah, I'll chat with you offline. It was nice to see you after a very very long time. Thanks.